You don't have to force anything in life to make it work. In fact, the more you try to force things, the more you push yourself away from real progress. We all get caught up in the hustle, thinking that in order to succeed, we need to push harder, do more, and make everything happen on our terms. But what if the key to true success lies in letting go of that pressure and allowing life to unfold naturally? Imagine how different your life could be if you stopped forcing outcomes and started trusting the process. What if the key to unlocking your true potential is actually in giving yourself permission to pause, breathe, and let things happen at their own pace? The idea that we have to work harder to force success is holding us back more than we realize. In today's video, we're going to dive deep into why forcing things blocks your growth and how you can start making real, lasting progress by simply letting go. This isn't about sitting back and doing nothing. It's about understanding when to take action and when to step back, giving space for the right opportunities and growth to come naturally. Stick with me as we explore how letting go is the key to finding balance, clarity, and true success in your life. Stay tuned, you're about to see things from a whole new perspective. Chapter 1. The power of letting life flow naturally. In this fast-paced world, it feels like everyone is in a race, chasing goals, forcing outcomes, and demanding results. We're taught that if we don't push hard enough, we'll fall behind. That if we're not constantly grinding, we're failing. But here's a powerful truth that can change your entire perspective. Life is not about forcing things. It's about alignment. It's about preparation. It's about understanding that what's meant for you will come, not when you push harder, but when you prepare better. Now that doesn't mean sitting back and doing nothing. Let me be clear, life doesn't reward laziness. It rewards preparation. It rewards the person who is working quietly, consistently, building skills, building character, and becoming the person who's ready to receive what they've been working for. But when you start trying to control every little thing, when you're trying to push life faster than it's meant to go, that's when you burn out. That's when you miss opportunities because you're too focused on forcing outcomes instead of letting them happen naturally. Think about it. Have you ever tried to force a situation? Maybe you tried to rush a relationship, or force someone to understand you, or push a business idea before it was ready. How did it feel? Frustrating, right? Exhausting. Because when you force life, it pushes back. But when you focus on preparing, on being ready, and on doing the right things consistently, life starts to open up. Things start to fall into place, almost like magic. But it's not magic, it's alignment. It's the result of patience meeting preparation. The real power in life comes when you stop trying to control every single outcome and instead focus on becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts the results you want. You don't have to chase opportunities. You have to become the person who is so prepared, so disciplined, so focused, that when the opportunity comes, it feels like the most natural thing in the world to step into it. And that's not forcing life. That's flowing with life. That's understanding the rhythm, the timing, and trusting that when you're ready, what's meant for you will arrive. But it takes trust, and that's where most people struggle. It's hard to trust the process when you can't see the results yet. It's hard to believe that all your hard work will pay off when nothing seems to be happening. And that's the moment when most people make the mistake of forcing things. They start pushing too hard, trying to make things happen faster. But let me tell you this, just because you don't see results immediately, doesn't mean your work isn't paying off. Growth happens in silence. Progress happens in the unseen moments. And success shows up for those who stay consistent, not for those who panic. You have to learn how to let life flow naturally. That doesn't mean giving up control of your actions. It means giving up control of the outcome. It means doing your best every day, preparing with discipline and focus, and then trusting that the results will come in their own time. And when they do, they'll feel right. They'll feel natural, and you'll know it was worth the wait. I've seen it happen in my own life, and in the lives of so many people I've worked with. The ones who succeed are not the ones who force results. They're the ones who prepare, who stay patient, and who trust the process. They're the ones who understand that life has a rhythm, and when you align yourself with that rhythm, through consistent effort and belief, you don't have to force anything, you just have to be ready. But let's be real, this isn't always easy. Patience isn't easy when you're hungry for results. It's hard to stay calm when you feel like you're running out of time. But the truth is, anything worth having takes time to build. Think about a strong tree. It takes years to grow deep roots. But those roots are what make it unshakable. Your life works the same way. When you invest in deep roots, by learning, growing, and building discipline, you create a life that can't be shaken. And you don't have to force that growth. You just have to nurture it. This is the shift that will change everything for you. Stop focusing on when it's going to happen. Start focusing on how you're preparing for it to happen. Don't ask, why isn't it here yet? Ask, how can I be better prepared when it arrives? Because when you prepare the right way, life has a way of surprising you. The doors open when you least expect it. The opportunities appear when you're truly ready. But if you try to force the door open before you've built the strength to walk through it, you'll only end up frustrated. So how do you start letting life flow naturally? You stay consistent. You show up every single day and give it your best without obsessing over the outcome. You take care of the small steps. You build the habits. You develop the mindset. You do what you can, and then you let go of the rest. Trust that life knows the right timing better than you do. And when you're ready, what you've been waiting for will show up, and it'll feel effortless. You also have to be willing to let go of what's not meant for you. Sometimes forcing things is just a sign that it's not the right time, or maybe it's not the right thing at all. But we hold on because we're scared. We don't want to miss out. We don't want to let go. But here's the truth. You can't receive what's meant for you if your hands are full of things that aren't. Letting go creates space for something better. And that takes strength. That takes trust. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's necessary. Life rewards those who have the courage to let go, to trust, and to keep preparing, even when they can't see the results yet. Because when you stop forcing things, you open yourself up to receive what's truly meant for you. You start to attract the right people, the right opportunities, the right experiences. And when they come, they'll feel natural. They'll feel like they were meant for you, because they are. This is the power of letting life flow naturally. It's about releasing the need to control and embracing the power of preparation and trust. It's about showing up every day, doing your best, and believing that everything you're working for is on its way, in its own perfect timing. And when it arrives, you'll be ready. Not because you forced it, but because you earned it. So if you're feeling frustrated right now, if you're tempted to force results, I want you to remember this. You don't have to force anything in life. You just have to be ready. Focus on becoming. Focus on preparing. Focus on letting life unfold the way it's meant to. Because when it happens naturally, it happens beautifully. And that's the kind of success that lasts. Chapter 2. Why Forcing Success Backfires. Life rewards preparation, not pressure. You can't force your way into greatness. You can't push the river and expect it to flow faster. And yet, that's what so many people try to do. They think if they just push harder, force outcomes, and control every little step, success will come quicker. But forcing success is like pulling on a seedling, hoping it'll grow faster. All you're doing is damaging the roots. All you're doing is delaying the very thing you're trying to rush. See, the problem is that most people don't understand the difference between persistence and forcing. Persistence is about consistent effort. It's about showing up every day, doing the work, and staying patient. Forcing, on the other hand, is about trying to make something happen when the conditions aren't right. It's like planting a seed and then digging it up every day to check if it's growing. That's not persistence. That's panic. And panic never produces results. It only creates frustration, anxiety, and burnout. Success doesn't come to the one who pushes the hardest. It comes to the one who prepares the best. It comes to the person who understands that timing matters. And that's a tough lesson to learn, because we live in a world that worships speed, fast results, instant gratification, quick wins. That's what everyone is chasing. But real success, the kind that lasts, that kind of success takes time. It takes discipline, it takes patience, and it takes knowing when to act and when to wait. I've seen this happen to so many people. They force a business idea that isn't ready. They force a relationship that isn't working. They force themselves into situations they haven't prepared for, and then they wonder why everything falls apart. It's not because they weren't working hard. It's because they were working out of alignment. They were pushing when they should have been preparing. They were forcing when they should have been learning. And that's why they failed. Not because they weren't capable, but because they weren't ready. And I get it. I really do. When you have a goal, it's natural to want it now. It's natural to feel like you're running out of time. But that pressure to rush, to force, to control every detail, that pressure is what destroys potential. It's what turns opportunity into disappointment. Because when you try to control the timing of your success, you're stepping outside the natural flow of growth. You're trying to shortcut a process that simply can't be rushed. You have to respect the process. You have to understand that growth happens in stages. First comes the learning, then the preparation, then the opportunity, and finally the reward. But if you skip a stage, if you try to force the reward before you've done the preparation, you won't be able to hold on to it. It won't last. And even if you manage to grab it for a moment, it'll slip through your fingers because you haven't built the foundation to sustain it. Let me tell you something important. Forcing success isn't a sign of strength. It's a sign of fear. It's a sign that you don't trust the process, that you don't trust your own preparation. And that fear makes you impatient. It makes you desperate. It pushes you to grab at things that aren't meant for you. But strength, real strength, is about knowing when to wait. It's about trusting that your hard work will pay off, even if it doesn't happen right away. It's about understanding that the process is preparing you for something bigger than you can even imagine. And trust me, when you stop forcing, when you start trusting, things begin to shift. The right opportunities come to you. The right people enter your life. The right doors open. Not because you forced them, but because you were ready. You had done the work. You had laid the foundation. And when the time was right, everything started to fall into place naturally. And when that happens, it feels effortless. It feels right. That's the kind of success that lasts. But here's the key. You can't fake this. You can't pretend to let go while still secretly trying to control everything. You have to really let go. You have to trust that what you're doing today is building a better tomorrow, even if you can't see it yet. You have to believe that the process works, that your effort matters, and that the right timing will reveal itself when you're ready. So if you're feeling stuck right now, if you're frustrated that things aren't happening fast enough, I want you to ask yourself something. Am I really prepared for the success I'm chasing? Have I built the skills, the discipline, the habits that will allow me to hold on to it when it comes? Or am I just trying to force something that I'm not ready for? Because if you're honest with yourself, you'll probably realize that there's more preparation to do, more learning, more growth. And that's okay. That's not failure. That's part of the process. You've got to remind yourself, preparation is never a waste of time. Every day you spend learning, growing, and building discipline is an investment in your future success. And when you finally reach that level of preparation, success won't be forced. It will be natural. It will be effortless. Because you'll be ready. And that kind of success, that's the kind that lasts. That's the kind you can build a life on. So stop forcing. Start preparing. Focus on the process, not just the result. Trust that your hard work is paying off, even if you can't see it yet. And when the time is right, success will come to you, not because you chased it, but because you became the person who's ready for it. That's how you win. That's how you build something that lasts. Chapter 3. Trust the timing of your life. One of the hardest lessons in life is learning to trust the timing of your journey. We live in a world where everything is about speed, fast results, instant rewards, immediate success. That's what people chase. But the truth is, real growth, meaningful progress, and lasting success never happen overnight. They happen in stages, at the right time, when you're truly ready. And that's not something you can rush. That's not something you can force. It's something you have to trust. You see, life has its own rhythm, its own pace. And when you fight against it, when you try to force things to happen before their time, you create frustration. You create stress. You set yourself up for failure. It's like trying to pick fruit before it's ripe. You might get it off the tree, but it won't be sweet, it won't be ready, and it definitely won't last. It'll rot quicker than it should, and you'll be left wondering why it all went wrong. Not because the fruit wasn't there, but because it wasn't time. Now, I know that can be hard to accept, especially when you feel like you're working harder than anyone else. When you feel like you've been patient long enough. When you look around and see others succeeding, moving ahead, reaching milestones while you're still stuck in the same place. And you start thinking, why not me? Why is it taking so long? What am I doing wrong? But here's the truth you need to hear. You're not doing anything wrong. You're being prepared. You're being shaped. You're being made ready for what's coming. And that takes time. You have to understand that every season of your life has a purpose. The times of growth, the times of waiting, the times of struggle, and the times of victory, they all have their place. And you can't rush one season to get to the next. You have to live it. You have to learn from it. You have to trust that what's happening now is necessary for what's coming next. Because life doesn't give you what you want when you want it. Life gives you what you're ready for when you're ready for it. Think about it. How many times have you wanted something so badly, but when it finally came, you realized you weren't prepared? You didn't have the discipline, you didn't have the knowledge, you didn't have the strength to hold on to it. That's why timing matters. That's why trust matters. Because if you get it too soon, it can crush you. But if you wait, if you build, if you prepare, then when it comes, you'll be ready to handle it, to hold on to it, to make it last. And I'm not telling you to sit back and do nothing. Trusting the timing of your life doesn't mean waiting around hoping for the best. It means doing the work. It means showing up every day, giving your best, and preparing for the opportunity, even if you don't see it yet. It means building the skills, developing the discipline, learning the lessons, and trusting that when the moment is right, life will open the doors, and you'll be ready to walk through them. But until that moment comes, you've got to be patient. You've got to stay consistent. You've got to resist the urge to rush, to panic, to force. Because every time you try to force an outcome, you delay the process. You push it further away. But when you trust, when you believe that your preparation is building your future, you create space for the right things to come into your life at the right time. And when they do, it feels natural. It feels powerful. It feels right. I've seen this truth in my own life. Times when I wanted to rush ahead. Times when I thought I was ready. But life had a different plan, and looking back, I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the delays, the setbacks, the moments of waiting, because they prepared me. They strengthened me. They made me into the person I needed to be. And when the right opportunities finally came, I wasn't scrambling to figure it out. I was ready. And that made all the difference. And I know it's hard when you feel like you've been patient long enough. When you feel like you've done the work, but the results still aren't showing up. But this is the moment where trust matters most. This is where belief becomes your strongest weapon. Because it's easy to trust when everything is going your way. But the real test is trusting when nothing seems to be happening. Trusting when you're doing the work, but the reward hasn't arrived yet. That's where strength is built. That's where resilience is born. So if you're in a season of waiting, don't see it as a setback. See it as preparation. See it as an opportunity to grow, to build, to get better. Use the time to sharpen your skills, to deepen your understanding, to strengthen your discipline. Because when the time is right, all that preparation will pay off. And it won't feel forced. It won't feel rushed. It'll feel like it was meant to be, like it was always meant to happen this way. You have to believe that life is working for you, even when it feels like it's standing still. You have to believe that your efforts are building something, even when you can't see the results yet. Because every moment of preparation, every lesson learned, every day you show up and give your best, that's all adding up. It's all shaping you for the moment when life says, now you're ready. And when that moment comes, you'll be glad you trusted the process. You'll be glad you didn't force it. You'll be glad you waited for the right time. So keep going, keep building, keep trusting. Your time is coming, and when it does, it will be worth every second of preparation. It will be worth every moment of patience. It will be worth every time you chose to trust the process instead of forcing the result. Because that's how lasting success is built. That's how true growth happens. And that's how you create a life that isn't just successful but meaningful, fulfilling and strong. Chapter 4. The Dangers of Forcing Relationships and Outcomes. The moment you realize that life isn't about forcing, you start to understand that relationships, whether with people, opportunities, or even your own dreams, are meant to grow, to evolve, and to happen in their own time. When you try to force something to happen, you're not just speeding up the process, you're robbing yourself of the beauty of discovery. It's easy to get frustrated, to feel like you need to control every outcome, but when you try to push something that isn't meant to be, you not only miss out on the richness of life, you risk damaging the very thing you're trying to make happen. It happens more often than we think. We want that perfect job, the perfect relationship, the perfect outcome in everything we do. We want things to go the way we planned, but here's the truth. Life doesn't work on our timelines. And the more you try to force your will on others or situations, the more likely you are to end up disappointed, hurt, and exhausted. It's easy to push people away when you try too hard to make them fit into your vision of what they should be. Relationships, whether romantic, family, or even friendships, thrive when you allow them to breathe, when you trust that both sides are growing together at their own pace. Now think about this for a second. Have you ever been in a situation where you tried to make a relationship work, and no matter how hard you pushed, it just didn't seem to fall into place? Whether it's with a friend, a partner, or a colleague, the harder you try to force it, the more resistance you feel. The connection isn't there, and you know deep down that it's not because you're not trying hard enough. It's because you're pushing something that isn't supposed to happen the way you want it to. You're trying to shape it into something that doesn't fit. When you force relationships, you end up pretending to be someone you're not. You change who you are to fit someone else's expectations. You lose yourself in the process, trying to meet needs that aren't even yours to meet. You might convince yourself that it's worth it, but in the end, it's just a facade. You'll end up burnt out, bitter, and empty. That's the danger of forcing. When you force, you sacrifice your authenticity, and the connection you're hoping for gets lost in all the effort. It becomes a game of pleasing and performing, not a real, genuine bond. The same thing happens with your goals, your dreams, and your aspirations. We're all guilty of pushing for the result before we've earned it, trying to reach the destination without appreciating the journey. How many times have you been so fixated on a specific outcome that you lost sight of the steps that would actually lead you there? You wanted success now, and you thought that by forcing your way through every obstacle, you could speed up the process. But all you're doing is blocking your own progress. The more you push, the further you get from where you really want to be. The key is to learn to stop forcing things to happen and instead focus on building the foundations that will allow success to come naturally. Think about it like planting a tree. You can't rush its growth. You can't force it to grow taller. You can't make the branches spread faster. But if you give it the right environment, sunlight, water, space to grow, it will thrive. You have to give things time. And in doing so, you create the space for things to unfold naturally. What's more important than forcing is the effort you put into laying the groundwork, the time you spend nurturing the right habits, the patience you show as you wait for the results to come. When you stop forcing things, you start to see how much potential there is in letting things grow organically. The effort you put in now will have lasting results later. But when you try to force it, you skip the crucial parts of the process. You're just running through the motions, checking boxes, but not truly growing. I'm sure you've been in a situation where things just clicked. You met someone, and the relationship felt effortless. You were in the flow. You didn't have to try hard. You didn't have to prove yourself. You were just being yourself, and that's exactly what the other person needed. That's what happens when you stop forcing. When you stop trying to mold the world to fit your ideas, things start to align in the way they're supposed to. And it's not just with relationships, it's with outcomes too. The more you force a result, the more you make it about the destination and forget the process. You forget the importance of learning, growing, and adapting along the way. You forget that the experience itself is what makes you better, not just the end goal. So when you force, You miss out on all the value that comes from the journey. The struggles, the lessons, the breakthroughs, they matter more than you think. At some point you'll realize that the best things in life happen when you allow them to. They come when you stop obsessing over every little detail, every little move. They come when you stop pushing. They come when you give yourself the freedom to simply be and to let things unfold at their own pace. So instead of forcing things to happen, focus on showing up, on being consistent, on doing the work. Trust that if it's meant to be, it will come. And if it's not meant to be, you'll be better off without it. It all comes down to this: you cannot force people to change. You cannot force opportunities to show up. You cannot force success to happen before you're ready for it. What you can do, however, is work on yourself. Work on your own growth. Work on being the best version of yourself, and the rest will come naturally when the timing is right. Stop forcing, let go, and trust the process. Chapter 5. How to know when you're forcing life. You can feel it in your gut when you're forcing something in life. It's that feeling of resistance, like you're pushing against a wall that just won't move. It's not supposed to feel this difficult. Life is meant to be challenging, yes, but when it feels like every step you take is uphill, that's a sign that you might be trying to force things to happen. Think about it. Have you ever been so focused on getting something you wanted, maybe a specific outcome, that it became the only thing you could think about? The more you fixate on it, the harder it gets. The more you try to control the situation, the more it slips through your fingers. This is when you start to realize you're forcing it. When you're forcing life, you lose the natural flow that comes when things fall into place effortlessly. There's a difference between striving for something and trying to make something happen that just isn't aligned with who you are or where you are in life right now. This feeling of resistance, it's like your inner self is telling you, this isn't the right path for you, this isn't the time, and yet we ignore that voice because we want what we want, and we want it now. But in those moments, when you feel that pull in your gut, you need to stop and ask yourself, am I trying to force this, or am I letting it unfold naturally? Forcing doesn't just happen in big life decisions. It happens in the smallest of moments. You push too hard to make something work because you're afraid of the unknown. You rush into situations that you're not ready for. You feel the pressure to do things in a certain way at a certain time because you think that's how it's supposed to be. But the truth is, you can't force timing. You can't force relationships. You can't force success. It all comes when you're ready, and not before. Trying to rush it only creates more frustration, more confusion, and more failure. Think about the times when you forced something. Maybe it was a conversation that you tried to steer in a particular direction. Maybe it was an outcome you were trying to control, whether it was getting a promotion, getting someone to like you, or achieving a certain goal. In those moments, did it feel easy? Did it feel natural? Or did you feel that tension, that sense of pushing and forcing, like you were trying to bend reality to fit your will? When you're forcing something, you lose the magic of letting things unfold naturally. You stop seeing the potential in the moments that happen when you allow things to evolve at their own pace. You're too focused on making things happen exactly how you want them to happen, and that blinds you to the opportunities around you. The truth is, the universe has a way of aligning things when you're not obsessing over every little detail. But when you're pushing, you miss those subtle moments, those little signs, those opportunities that might not have been the ones you were aiming for, but could be even better than what you originally planned. And here's where the danger lies. When you're forcing life, you're not listening to yourself. You're not listening to your needs, your desires, your intuition. Instead, you're listening to outside pressures, to the idea that there's a right way to do things. You're trying to follow a blueprint that wasn't made for you. Life isn't a one-size-fits-all formula, but when you force things, you're treating it like it is. And that's when the frustration begins. When you stop forcing, you start to hear your inner voice, and that's the voice that will guide you toward what's truly right for you. So how do you know when you're forcing life? Pay attention to the signs. Are you feeling exhausted, drained and frustrated? Are you trying to make something happen that just isn't working, no matter how hard you push? Are you making decisions out of fear, out of a sense of urgency, or because you feel like you should do something, instead of because it feels right to you? If so, you're likely forcing it. And when you catch yourself in that moment, take a step back. Breathe. Let go of the pressure. Trust that everything will unfold when it's meant to, and focus on taking the next right step, no matter how small it may seem. It's easy to get caught up in the rush of life, in the desire to make things happen quickly. We live in a world that moves fast, where everything is instant gratification, instant results, and instant connections. But real life, real success, real fulfillment doesn't work that way. It takes time. It takes patience. It takes being present in the moment, not in the destination. The more you try to force things, the further you push yourself away from the life you really want. So here's what I want you to do. Next time you find yourself forcing, stop. Stop for a moment and ask yourself why. Why are you trying to push this? Why are you trying to control the outcome? And more importantly, why are you not trusting the process? Life isn't about forcing things to happen. It's about trusting that the right things will come at the right time. And when you stop forcing and start letting go, that's when the magic happens. That's when you start to see things fall into place, not because you forced them, but because you allowed them to be. Let life unfold at its own pace. Let the relationships grow naturally. Let the opportunities come when you're ready for them, not when you think you should have them. Let success find you, not because you chased it, but because you prepared for it and allowed it to come when it was meant to. And when you stop forcing and start trusting, you'll find that life becomes a lot easier, a lot more fulfilling, and a whole lot more meaningful. Chapter 6. Let go to gain more. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, looking out over the vast expanse of possibility ahead of you. The wind is at your back, and there's an incredible view of the life you could have, the success you could create, and the future that's waiting for you. But there's one thing holding you back. It's not fear, it's not a lack of ability, it's the weight you're carrying. The baggage from your past, the beliefs that limit you, the old habits that no longer serve you. The truth is, you cannot move forward unless you first let go of what is holding you back. It might feel like everything you've accumulated over the years is necessary to your identity, but in reality, it's what's keeping you stuck. Letting go is the only way to make room for what's truly meant for you. Think about all the things you're holding on to in your life. It could be past failures that haunt you, regrets that weigh you down, or even relationships that drain you. All of these things may seem like they are part of who you are, but in reality, they are just obstacles preventing you from moving forward. We often believe that holding on to our past experiences, our pain, and our mistakes gives us strength. But the truth is, holding on to what no longer serves us is actually a form of resistance. It's resisting the very growth and transformation that we're capable of. The only way to break free and move toward the life you truly want is by letting go. This doesn't mean forgetting the past or erasing it from your memory. It means releasing the emotional attachment to it. It means choosing not to let the past dictate your present or your future. Letting go doesn't come naturally to most people. We're conditioned to hold on tight, to fight for what we think we deserve, to cling to the familiar because it feels safe. But the irony is that by clinging to what is familiar, we limit ourselves. We are stuck in a cycle that prevents us from evolving. The greatest opportunities for growth and transformation exist outside of our comfort zones. But we cannot step outside of that zone until we're willing to release our grip on everything that is holding us in place. It's like trying to run while dragging a heavy chain behind you. No matter how fast you want to go, no matter how hard you try, you will always be limited by the weight you're carrying. If you want to run freely toward your dreams, you have to let go of the chains. Letting go is not about giving up. It's about making space for what is truly important. Sometimes we hold on to people, places, and things out of a sense of obligation or fear of what life might be like without them. We stay in toxic relationships because we're afraid of being alone. We stay in jobs that drain us because we're afraid of change. We keep repeating the same patterns over and over because we're afraid of what might happen if we step into the unknown. But in reality, it's only by stepping into the unknown that we discover who we really are. It's only by letting go of what is comfortable that we can step into a life that is truly extraordinary. You have to understand that the universe works in a way that when you release something, you create space for something greater. This doesn't mean that what you're letting go of is bad or wrong, but that there's something better waiting for you, something that you can't see yet. Letting go isn't about losing, it's about gaining. You're not giving up on anything, you're simply making room for something better. The more you let go, the more you open yourself up to the possibility of something greater. The more you release, the more you receive. It's like decluttering your home. Once you clear out the old, you create space for the new. But it's not just physical space, it's emotional, mental, and spiritual space. When you let go of fear, you make room for confidence. When you let go of regret, you make room for peace. When you let go of old habits, you make room for new opportunities. And when you let go of negative relationships, you make room for the people who will truly support you on your journey. Letting go means embracing change. It means understanding that you are constantly evolving, and you can't take everything with you. You have to trust that what is meant for you will find you, but first you need to make room for it. You cannot hold on to the life you have and expect to attract something better. The more you let go, the more you align yourself with the life that is waiting for you. Now you might be wondering how to actually let go of the things that are holding you back. It's not always easy, and it takes practice. But the first step is awareness. You have to acknowledge what is no longer serving you. Is it a relationship that drains you? Is it a belief that limits you? Is it an old habit that holds you back from achieving your full potential? Once you identify what you need to release, the next step is to make a conscious decision to let it go. It doesn't happen overnight, but every day you make that decision, you get closer to freedom. Start by shifting your perspective. Understand that letting go doesn't mean you're weak or giving up. It means you're strong enough to create the space for something better. It means you're wise enough to recognize that holding on to what no longer serves you is holding you back from what you truly want. The next time you feel the urge to hold on tight to something, ask yourself, is this helping me move forward? If the answer is no, then it's time to release it. Let it go. Trust that by doing so, you're creating room for the new, the exciting, the unknown, and the amazing things that are coming your way. Letting go also means trusting in yourself. Trusting that you are capable of handling whatever comes next. Trusting that the universe will provide what you need when you need it. When you hold on to things out of fear, you're saying that you don't trust yourself or the process of life. But when you let go, you're saying that you trust that whatever is meant for you will find its way to you. You trust that by releasing what no longer serves you, you're opening yourself up to a brighter, more fulfilling future. It's time to let go of the weight that's been holding you down. It's time to release the things, the thoughts and the fears that have been keeping you stuck. When you let go, you don't lose anything. You gain everything. You gain the freedom to move forward. You gain the opportunity to grow. You gain the space for new possibilities. And you gain the ability to truly live the life you deserve. Let go and watch as your world transforms. Chapter 7. Forcing results versus building foundations. You've probably experienced it before. Those moments where you're pushing yourself so hard, trying everything, forcing results that just don't seem to come. You're grinding, putting in the hours, checking off tasks, but somehow it feels like no matter what you do, the breakthrough just isn't happening. You're working harder and harder, yet the results don't seem to reflect the effort you've been putting in. The truth is, we've all been there, trying to force something to happen because we think that's the only way to achieve success. But what if I told you that the key to lasting success doesn't come from forcing results, but from building solid foundations? That's the secret. Everything begins with building a foundation, and if you don't have that in place, forcing results will always fall short. Think about a house. You can't just build the walls and put up the roof, expecting it to stand strong. It's the foundation that holds everything up. Without it, everything crumbles. The same goes for your life, your career, and your dreams. You can hustle, force, and push all you want, but if you don't have a strong foundation, the results won't last. In fact, they'll probably be temporary, and you'll end up back where you started, trying to force things again. It's an endless cycle of frustration, but here's the truth. It doesn't have to be that way. You don't need to force anything. All you need to do is focus on building a foundation that will carry you through the highs and the lows. Once you have that, everything else will fall into place. Forcing results comes from a place of impatience. It's the mindset that says, I need to get there right now, no matter what. It's the quick fix mentality that makes us believe we should be able to achieve success instantly. And while there's nothing wrong with wanting results, the problem arises when we focus solely on the outcome, without considering the steps it takes to get there. Building a foundation, on the other hand, is all about focusing on the process. It's about understanding that success isn't a race, it's a journey, and the journey is where the real growth happens. It's in the daily habits, the small improvements, and the steady progress that you build something solid that can withstand the challenges that will inevitably come your way. When you focus on building a foundation, you shift your energy away from forcing results and start focusing on the things that matter most. You stop chasing shortcuts and start focusing on developing the skills, the mindset, and the habits that will support long-term success. It's like learning to walk before you run. You don't just get up one day and sprint to the finish line. You first need to find your balance, strengthen your legs, and build up your endurance. The same applies to your goals. Whether you're looking to build a business, achieve personal growth, or reach any kind of success, the foundation is everything. Without it, your efforts will be in vain. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that success is a straight line. They think that if they work hard enough and push long enough, things will magically fall into place. But that's simply not how it works. Success is messy. It's filled with ups and downs, challenges, and setbacks. The people who succeed in the long run are the ones who understand that it's not about forcing results, but about consistently showing up and putting in the work day after day. They know that results don't come overnight, and they're willing to build the foundation that will carry them to the top. They understand that true success is about consistency, not quick fixes. When you focus on building a foundation, you embrace the process. You stop measuring yourself by the end result and start valuing the daily progress you make. It's about the little wins that add up over time. It's about waking up every day and making the decision to move forward, no matter how small the step may seem. Those small steps compound over time, and before you know it, you'll have built something strong enough to carry you all the way to your goals. The key is to stay patient and trust the process. The more you focus on building a solid foundation, the more you'll realize that the results will come naturally. They won't need to be forced. They'll be a natural byproduct of the hard work and effort you've put into building something real. Here's the truth that's hard to swallow. Forcing results only creates pressure. It leads to burnout, frustration, and ultimately, failure. It's like trying to push a car up a hill. No matter how much force you apply, you're never going to make any real progress. But when you focus on building a solid foundation, you allow things to flow naturally. You're not forcing anything. You're creating something that will last, something that will grow with you over time. And when the inevitable challenges come, as they always do, you'll have a strong foundation to stand on. You'll have the resilience to keep going, no matter what obstacles you face. If you've been feeling stuck, like you're constantly pushing and pushing but not getting anywhere, it's time to take a step back and reassess. Are you focused on forcing results, or are you focused on building the foundation that will carry you through? If you're trying to force things to happen, it's time to let go of that mentality. It's time to start laying the groundwork for long-term success. It's time to stop chasing instant gratification and start focusing on what really matters, the process. Because when you build a solid foundation, the results will follow. They'll come when they're meant to, and they'll be worth it. Trust the process, stay consistent, and know that everything you're doing now is setting you up for the success you're destined for. Remember, the greatest achievements are not the result of rushing through the process, but the product of a slow, steady, and intentional effort. You don't need to force anything. You just need to build the foundation. And once that foundation is in place, nothing can stop you from reaching the heights you've always dreamed of. Keep building, keep trusting, and watch how everything falls into place. Chapter 8. The strength in letting life unfold. It's time to stop fighting the current of life and start flowing with it. Too many of us spend our days clenching our fists, forcing outcomes, pushing through every challenge with the idea that we need to control every detail. We're obsessed with timelines, with making things happen exactly how we think they should, and we're constantly in a rush to reach some imagined destination. But what if the key to true success isn't in forcing things to unfold on our terms, but in embracing the power of letting life unfold as it's meant to? There is a unique strength in surrendering to the flow of life, trusting that it will guide you exactly where you need to go at the right time. When you let go of the need to control every aspect of your journey, you open the door to a deeper kind of growth that can only come from surrendering to the present moment. It's easy to get caught up in the illusion that we need to make everything happen on our own, but the truth is, life is constantly unfolding around us. Whether we realize it or not, every day we are presented with opportunities to evolve, to grow, and to become the best versions of ourselves. But these opportunities can't be forced. They have to be allowed to emerge naturally, in their own time. There is power in being present, in letting things unfold without pushing them into existence. When we surrender to this process, we tap into an energy that is far more powerful than the hustle we've been taught to chase. When we're constantly trying to control every aspect of our lives, we exhaust ourselves. We end up spreading ourselves too thin, getting frustrated when things don't go as planned, and losing sight of what's really important. The strength in letting life unfold comes from releasing the need to be in control and accepting the unknown. It's about trusting that the path you're on will lead you to exactly where you're supposed to be, even if you don't know how or when it will happen. Life has its own rhythm, and when we stop trying to dictate that rhythm, we start dancing to it instead. We find ourselves in a space of ease, where things happen not because we forced them, but because we allowed them to happen. This doesn't mean sitting back and doing nothing. It means taking action from a place of inner peace, from a place of trusting that the universe will guide you in the right direction. Letting go isn't easy. It goes against everything we've been conditioned to believe about success and achievement. We've been taught that in order to make our dreams come true, we have to chase them relentlessly, never stop, and never rest. But this kind of mentality leads to burnout, frustration, and disappointment. The truth is, we don't need to constantly push and strive. Sometimes, the most powerful thing we can do is step back and let life show us the way. When we stop fighting against the current, we stop draining our energy and start flowing with it. And when we flow with life, we make space for the kind of miracles we could never have planned for or predicted. There is a deep sense of peace that comes with surrendering. It's not about giving up or resigning yourself to a passive existence. It's about giving yourself permission to trust in the process, to trust that you are exactly where you need to be. Think about the things in your life that have worked out better than you could have imagined, maybe a relationship, a career opportunity, or a personal breakthrough. In hindsight, you can see how everything fell into place in ways that you couldn't have planned for. That's the beauty of life unfolding. When we stop forcing things, we begin to see how everything is connected, how the universe has its own perfect timing, and how we are always exactly where we need to be. The strength in letting life unfold is the strength of patience. It's the strength of resilience, the ability to keep moving forward, even when we can't see the next step. When we stop trying to control every detail, we allow ourselves to trust in our own abilities, knowing that we have what it takes to navigate whatever comes our way. It's about being present and embracing the uncertainty of life without fear. The unknown is not something to be scared of. It's an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to become more than we ever thought possible. Life doesn't need to be controlled, it needs to be experienced. Every time you try to force something, you're telling the universe that you don't trust the timing of your life. You're saying that you believe you know better than the flow of the universe. But the universe always has a bigger plan for you than you can see from where you're standing. You're not meant to know everything, you're meant to trust. The strength lies in surrendering your need to control and allowing life to unfold exactly as it's meant to. By letting go of your expectations, you open yourself up to the unexpected, to the magic that comes when you stop trying to make everything fit into a neat little box. What would happen if you let go of all the pressure to have everything figured out? What if you stopped worrying about the future and just trusted that the right opportunities would come at the right time? Imagine how much lighter you would feel, how much more freedom you would experience. There is so much power in letting go. When you embrace the unknown and let life unfold, you stop fighting against yourself. You stop pushing yourself to be someone you're not, and you start becoming the person you were always meant to be. So let go of the need to control. Let go of the fear of the unknown. Let go of the timeline you've set for yourself and allow life to take its course. Trust that everything is unfolding perfectly for you, even if you can't see it yet. The strength in letting life unfold is not in the results. It's in the peace you find when you surrender to the flow. That peace will guide you, and it will give you the strength to face whatever comes next. When you stop fighting the current, you realize that the current was always meant to take you exactly where you need to go. And when you get there, you'll understand that everything you went through, the struggles, the waiting, the uncertainty, was all part of the journey that led you to your greatest success. Chapter 9. When to push and when to pause. Life is a constant dance between pushing forward and taking a step back, between taking action and allowing things to unfold naturally. In the pursuit of our dreams, we often feel the pressure to keep going, to push harder, to do more. And yes, there are times when pushing forward is exactly what we need. But the real key to success is knowing when to push and when to pause. Understanding this balance can change the entire trajectory of your life. It's about finding the sweet spot where effort meets ease, where determination meets acceptance, and where you move with the flow instead of against it. Too often, we get stuck in the cycle of always doing, never taking a break, never allowing ourselves the time to recharge, to reflect, and to reset. We think that if we stop, if we slow down, we're going to fall behind, that we'll lose momentum. But in reality, some of the greatest moments of growth come when we step back, take a breath, and allow ourselves to simply be. There is an undeniable power in knowing when to push, when to give everything you have, and when to pause, to step back and allow life to breathe. Pushing forward relentlessly, without rest or reflection, is like driving a car at full speed, without stopping for fuel or maintenance. Eventually, the engine will break down, no matter how strong the car is. But when you know how to pause at the right moments, you allow yourself the space to recharge, to gather new insights, and to come back stronger than ever. The real secret is knowing when to go all in and when to take a step back and let the world do its part. Pushing and pausing are not opposites. They are two sides of the same coin, each necessary for the other to function. There are times when life demands everything you've got. There are moments when you need to push harder than you've ever pushed before, when you have to dig deep and give it your all. These are the moments when everything you've worked for is on the line, and pushing through the obstacles will make all the difference. But here's the thing, those moments don't come every day. In fact, they should be rare. If you're constantly in push mode, you'll burn out. You'll lose sight of the bigger picture, and you'll lose the joy that comes from the journey. Pushing is essential in certain moments, but without knowing when to pause, you'll never get to experience the true power of your efforts. Pausing isn't about quitting. It's not about giving up or losing momentum. Pausing is about allowing yourself the space to reflect, to recalibrate, and to regain your focus. It's about giving yourself permission to rest and recharge, so that when you do push forward again, you do so with even more power, purpose, and clarity. Pausing is not wasted time. It's time well spent. It's time to connect with yourself, to tune in to what you truly need, and to ensure that you're moving in the right direction. Think of it as a strategic move, a moment of clarity before you charge ahead again. Knowing when to push and when to pause is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. It's not just about recognizing the external signs, it's about tuning in to your own body, mind, and spirit. Your body will tell you when it's time to rest, your mind will let you know when it's time to focus, and your heart will guide you when it's time to take a break and recharge. The more in tune you become with your inner state, the easier it will be to recognize when it's time to push and when it's time to pause. And the more you trust that inner voice, the more effective your efforts will be when you do decide to go all in. Sometimes we push because we feel like we have to. We get caught up in the hustle culture, in the belief that success only comes through constant action. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Success is not about doing more, it's about doing more of the right things at the right time. It's about knowing when to apply pressure and when to step back and let things unfold. When you learn to trust this rhythm, you become unstoppable, not because you're always in motion, but because you know exactly when to act and when to rest. There's a reason why the most successful people in the world don't operate at full throttle all the time. They've learned the value of rest, reflection, and the power of patience. They understand that the most meaningful breakthroughs often come when we give ourselves space to pause and allow the insights to surface. It's in these moments of stillness that we often discover the clarity we need to take our next step, the courage to push forward with renewed determination, and the wisdom to know that our efforts are aligned with the right purpose. It's easy to get caught up in the constant rush, to feel like you always need to be doing something, achieving something, moving forward at breakneck speed. But in reality, the most powerful people are the ones who understand the importance of balance. They know when to push and when to pause. And they've mastered the art of tuning into their intuition, trusting that they'll know exactly what to do in each moment. It's not about forcing things to happen, it's about allowing them to unfold naturally, while also knowing when it's time to give it your all. When you stop trying to force everything into motion and learn to trust the process, you realize that things happen in their own time. Your greatest achievements don't always come from the hours of relentless work you put in. Sometimes they come from the moments when you took a step back, gave yourself permission to pause, and let things come together on their own. And when the time comes to push, you'll know it because you'll have the energy, the clarity, and the focus to give it everything you've got. The balance between pushing and pausing is where true power lies. It's about trusting that you don't have to do everything all at once, that sometimes the best thing you can do for your progress is to stop and breathe. When you learn to honor both the push and the pause, you unlock a level of strength, resilience, and clarity that will carry you through every challenge, every goal, and every dream you set your sights on. The magic happens when you understand that both pushing and pausing are necessary for your success, and that neither one is more important than the other. Chapter 10. How forcing blocks your growth. The truth is, when you try to force things to happen, you're not just pushing against the natural flow of life, you're holding yourself back. There's this common belief that in order to succeed, you have to push harder, work longer, and make things happen no matter what. But the more you force, the more you're actually blocking your growth. The pressure you put on yourself to always be on the go, to always be pushing and achieving, is like trying to run full speed into a wall and expecting it to move. What happens is, you end up wearing yourself out, burning out, and completely missing the opportunity to let your natural growth unfold at the perfect pace. Forcing your way forward only makes you feel like you're going in circles. You find yourself stuck in this never-ending cycle of hustle, stress, and frustration, and it feels like no matter how much you do, things just aren't progressing. You try to force outcomes, to push things into being, but the results never quite match the effort. That's because growth doesn't happen in a straight line. It's not something you can rush, manipulate, or control. The more you try to force things, the more you block the very flow of energy that could be propelling you forward. True growth is about trust, patience, and allowing things to unfold in their own time. Think about a plant growing. You can water it, give it sunlight, and nurture it, but you can't force it to grow faster. If you pull on the plant to speed things up, you'll only harm it. The same is true for your growth. When you try to force things, whether it's a project, a relationship, or personal success, you're essentially trying to skip the important steps in the process. Growth requires space, time, and patience. It requires the right conditions to thrive. And when you're focused on forcing things to happen, you're not giving yourself the time and space you need to truly grow. Forcing can be a response to fear. It's the fear that you're running out of time, the fear that you won't be good enough, the fear that if you don't take control right now, you'll lose your chance. But here's the thing, fear can never guide you to true growth. Fear can make you act impulsively, it can drive you to push yourself harder than you should, but it won't help you evolve. When you're driven by fear, you're more likely to make decisions from a place of scarcity and desperation, not from a place of confidence and clarity. And that's where things get off track. Now, don't get me wrong, effort is important. You can't just sit back and expect things to fall into place without putting in the work. But there's a big difference between putting in the right kind of effort and simply forcing your way through every obstacle. It's not about how much effort you put in, it's about how aligned that effort is with the bigger picture, with what you're truly capable of. When you force things, you're often trying to control an outcome, trying to force the universe to give you what you want on your timeline. But the universe doesn't operate on your timeline. It has its own pace, and when you learn to trust that, that's when you start to see real progress. When you stop forcing and start allowing things to unfold naturally, you open the door for true transformation. It's not that you're not working hard, it's that you're working smarter. You're moving with purpose, you're focused, and you're acting in alignment with your goals, not trying to bulldoze your way to success. The moment you stop forcing is the moment you tap into your true potential. You let go of the unnecessary pressure and start to see things clearly. Instead of burning out, you start to experience a flow state where your efforts feel natural, where things start to click into place, and where growth happens effortlessly. Growth isn't something that can be forced, it's something that happens when you allow it to. When you stop forcing, you create space for inspiration to come through. You open yourself to new ideas, new opportunities, and new ways of doing things, and that's when real progress begins to take shape. It's the difference between running on a hamster wheel, going nowhere, and allowing yourself to flow with the rhythm of your own personal growth. The key to unlocking your true potential is learning to trust the process. Trust that everything you need is already within you, and that the right opportunities, the right people, and the right circumstances will come to you at the right time. Forcing only keeps you stuck in a pattern of struggle, but when you step back and trust the journey, you align yourself with the forces of growth, progress, and success. When you learn to stop forcing, you also give yourself permission to stop judging yourself. Forcing is a form of self-criticism. It's telling yourself that you're not enough unless you're constantly doing more, achieving more, pushing harder. But the truth is, you are enough just as you are. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to force anything. You just need to trust that your journey is unfolding exactly as it should. When you stop trying to force outcomes, you'll find that success comes to you in a way that feels right, in a way that flows naturally. It will come to you not because you forced it, but because you were ready to receive it. It's time to let go of the idea that you have to force everything. It's time to stop struggling against the current and learn to move with it. When you trust the process, when you allow growth to happen at its own pace, you'll find that things come to you more effortlessly. You don't need to force your growth, you just need to trust it. Growth isn't a race, it's a journey. And when you learn to stop forcing, you'll find that the journey becomes a whole lot easier, more rewarding, and more fulfilling.